Welcome to the first edition of the Mukerjee Bookathon, presented in association with the Raisoni Foundation. In this session, we'll be exploring the book Business Communication by Hory Mukerjee. Business Communication Connecting at Work is a comprehensive textbook tailored for a postgraduate business management students. It offers a practice-oriented approach to business communication covering core concepts through examples, case studies, and illustrations. The book delves into oral, non-verbal, and listening skills, writing skills, including official documents, interpersonal communication, business etiquette, cultural communication, and technologies related to business communication. It also guides readers in developing effective resumes and excelling in group discussions and interviews, making it valuable for both students and professions. Our speaker, Mr. Hory Mukerjee, is currently a Principal Education, Training and Assessment with Infosys Limited, Hyderabad. He has an MBA from Symbiosis Pune and a postgraduate degree in Economics from Annamalai University. He has got a professional experience of nearly 14 years divided in academic institutions and industry like Standard Chartered and Tata Infomedia. He has presented many papers in national and international forums. And now I would like to hand over the session to the speaker.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Hory Mukerjee, and I'm an author for Business Communication Connecting at Work, published by Oxford University Press. And this book has been in the market for quite some time, from 2013 onwards. I currently work in an organization wherein I look into the training and development for IT consultants. I have about 20 plus years of experience in the industry. And apart from that, I am an author for Oxford University Press and other publishing houses as well. So talking specifically about this book, Business Communication Connecting at Work, there are certain reasons why I had written this, or why I had initially contemplated about writing this book. The first thing is that in the industry, there is a huge disconnect between what is happening at the ground level vis-a-vis what is happening at the top level. On top of this, there is a major problem that comes up for most of the executives or most of the IT professionals, or as well as people from other industries, that the communication skills of these executives are poor, very poor in fact. And what happens when you are interacting with multinational clients in India or abroad? Communication becomes a major barrier for all of them. So with this insight in mind, I had actually started off writing this book. And this book, in the market for the last 9 years, has done well, at least in terms of the objectives that I had initially started writing it off. This book essentially looks at how communication can be improved, both from the perspective of somebody who is doing their course in communication, especially business communication, and somebody who is working in the industry and is essentially trying to improve their business communication skills. Now, while you are trying to do that, please remember that business communication skills are essentially improved by regular, conscious practice. If you do not practice whatever you have learned, it will become very difficult for you essentially to move ahead or show delta improvements in the way you have been doing or you have been communicating with your audience. So therefore, I recommend that all the people who are reading the book essentially puts things into perspective and practice. That is the first thing that I wanted to tell you. The second thing that I wanted to tell you is that there are various aspects of business communication which are covered in the book. And this caters to a wide range of audience. So this caters to schools to college students. This caters to industry professionals. However, it is very important for you to understand how to segregate and what are the key things that you want to take from the book. The third thing is that business communication essentially is divided into 4 parts: L, S, R, and W. Listening skills, speaking skills, reading skills, and writing skills. All the 4 have been given its due importance in the book. So all the 4 comes under various chapters, and these chapters essentially tells you as to what are the basic understandings of the topic, what you need to do, and how do you need to improve. Listening skills, speaking skills, reading skills, and writing skills are the 4 basic fundamental things that we have covered. Apart from that, there are other areas like your cross-cultural communication and making your CV and resume are things that we have also covered in the book. So what this book essentially stands for is essentially a guide for you to practice. Now, how do you make use of this book? Let's say, for example, you identify a couple of areas for your own improvement. Now, once you have identified a couple of areas for your own improvement, then the first thing that I would suggest all the audience to do is essentially read the particular chapter up. Look at the areas or identify the areas wherein you are falling short of expectation. Don't set your benchmark too high. Don't underestimate yourself, and set yourself at a level which you feel is either the one which requires an improvement or the one which essentially does not require any improvement. For example, your listening skills may or may not require improvement. Or however, it could also be possible that your listening skills require an improvement, but only to a certain degree or extent. For specific areas within listening requires your improvement. Say, for example, note taking within listening skills. What is note taking? Note taking, for example, is a scenario wherein you are taking notes while you are listening to somebody. How do you take notes? What are the key things that you consider while you are taking notes? Do you take notes of everything? So these are the things that you probably might want to improve. Now, once you have decided on that, lay down a path with a time frame as to how you want to do this. And after that, you go ahead and make all the changes, corrections, and practices. The key thing here is essentially to practice. So once you have done that and reiteratively you keep on doing that, right, you will be able to improve your listening skills over a period of time. So it goes for writing, so it goes for speaking, and so it goes for reading. So each of these areas you will have to work upon and you will have to improve. This book is also very critical for students who are essentially pursuing their graduation and their post-graduation courses. If you are the one who is essentially lacking in their communication skill, you should be the one who should be reading this book and taking this into action. Now, you would have heard from many industry forums, or you would have heard from various places across the industry that one of the biggest challenge today that recruiters face while they are absorbing students or while they are taking students for campus placements into their companies are their communication skills. And about 80% of the students are unemployed. While unemployability comes from the factor of their knowledge, unemployability also comes because they are not good with their communication skills. And this does not happen overnight. Over a period of time, you would have neglected your communication skills. You would have paid too much of attention on your core skills, like your engineering degree, your hotel management degree, your pharmacy degree, your engineering degree. So all of these, while you are concentrating on your softer power, that is your business communication, essentially has gone into the backward. Now, let's say, for example, you are passing out from graduation after 4 years. Suddenly, after 3 years, you get up one morning and you decide that tomorrow I have to give an interview and I am already ready and keen. Essentially, it does not work that way. You will have to keep focusing on your communication skills right from that day you get into the college. Communication skills is not only about the 30 hours that you are spending in the class or in the communications class making a presentation. You can master that presentation. You can reiterate, you can practice, and you can master the presentation. You can pass the business communication course. But what is also important equally here is that that will not be sufficient. While you are going to the industry, you will have to interact with your audience. You will have to interact with your peers. You will have to interact with your colleagues. You will have to interact with your managers. You will have to interact with your clients. You will have to interact with your subordinates. And that is essentially where the challenges come. Now, while you are interacting with all these people, communication essentially to us in normal Indian scenario essentially means in English. However, communication could be in any language. It is not necessarily English. Business communication could also be in any language. What is required is that your listening skills, your speaking skills, your writing skills, and your reading skills are essentially top notch in the industry. If you have very good communication skills, what it also gives you is a very strong soft power. It also helps you in reaching to the target audience. It also helps you convince people easily. It also helps others make a note of you. It also helps others to take you along with. And it also helps you drive down your ideas amongst your subordinates or amongst your bosses. So communication is very, very powerful. So this is the speaking, reading, writing, and listening part of it. There is another aspect of the communication, and that is the non-verbal communication, which we have also covered as a part of the book. And in the non-verbal communication, what we essentially do are our gestures, are our postures, the way we sit, the way we talk, the way we make eye contact, the way we shake our hands, the way we dress, the way we stand in front of somebody, whether we are putting our hands inside the pocket or not, whether we are fidgeting with our pen or with our tie or with our shirt. So all of this is a part of your non-verbal communication. And it makes a tremendous difference to the people who is listening to you. So in that way as well, communication makes a big difference. It makes a big difference to yourself and also to the people who are listening to you. The people who are taking your instructions, that is your subordinates, and the people whom you are reporting to. One more thing that you will notice is that if your communication skills are a notch higher than the rest of the people, it also makes a marked difference in the way your performance is in the organization. Let us say, for example, your manager has 20 people reporting to him, and it is virtually impossible for him to keep a track of all these 20 people. What will make you set apart from the rest of the people are your communication skills. And that is essentially wherein your strength would essentially lie. If you are able to make yourself stand out from the rest of the people or rest of your colleagues who are reporting to the same manager, you have done your job. And one of the good ways to do this is essentially by working on your communication skills. Let us take, for example, writing. In the business scenarios, most of the writing that we commonly do in our day-to-day practices are emails. Emails that we are writing to our clients, that we are writing to our colleagues, subordinates, managers. And one of the key things in business communication is communicating ideas with preciseness. You have to be short, as well as you should be able to communicate your ideas and thoughts. If you are able to do that in any kind of scenario, whether it is a good news, whether it's a bad news, whether it's a neutral news, whether you are trying to sell something, whatever might be the case, if you have been able to do justice to the idea that is there in your head, translate that in a piece of email and send it across and convince your managers or convince your subordinates to act on that, you have done a fantastic job. That is the power of communication. If you look at the best leaders in the world, whether you take Mahatma Gandhi, John F. Kennedy, Narendra Modi, all of these people are very good orators. Not only are they very good orators, that is speakers, but they are also very good with their communication skills. So while your strength or why you have been hired in an organization is because of your hard skills, that is your engineering skills, or your hotel management skills, or your medical skills, medicine skills, you are also regarded at work, which is your softer power, which is the communication skill. For example, you visit a doctor. When you visit a doctor for the first time, his words matter a lot. His words matter a lot because you would not have seen him doing a surgery. You would have heard from people that he's a good doctor, bad doctor, evil doctor. But at the same point in time, what is also essential is that the words that he's uttering out of his mouth, the way he talks to you, the way he presents himself, matters a lot to you. You will create an image of that person in your mind, and you will be governed by that image. So even if the doctor is bad, but he's good with his communication skills, you as a patient will be convinced visiting that doctor again and again. So similarly, it goes for business as well. Similarly, it goes when you are essentially trying to enter your job. Another important aspect of communication, or slightly a subset of this, a route away from the mainstream, is building connects. Your network is your net worth. And that is also very important in today's world of communication. Today, we are all connected to digital devices. And 24/7, we are accessing some form of digital devices or carrying some form of digital devices with us. Whether it's mobile phones, smartphones, our handheld devices, or our smartwatches, we are doing something or the other, or we are watching something digitally. Now, in certain situations, also it matters. Your communication skills matter. How you communicate over these digital devices, what are your do's and don'ts, are also very, very important. The way you speak on telephone vis-a-vis the way you speak on your mobile phone is vastly different. A lot of your generation probably would not have seen telephones. However, during my childhood, I would have seen telephones. Telephone calls were very precious as well as precise because the calls were very costly at one point in time when I was a kid. But today it is not. Today, telephone calls are offered for free of cost. They charge you for the data. Now, in certain such scenarios, the problem has come up of communication overload. Too many people are calling you up. Too many messages are floating around. How do you separate your message from the rest of the people? How do you make yourself unique? How do you keep yourself in the mind of the other person? Say, for example, you have to meet your prospective customer, and there are 10 people who also is trying to meet him. How do you make yourself different from the rest of the 9 other people? And how do you build an image of you in the mind of that particular person is also dependent on strong communication skills. So there is a lot that you can do with your communication skills. Another interesting example or another important example that comes up or theme that comes up in communication is short talks. Let's say, for example, you have gone to a party, an official party, and you all guys are all sitting and chatting there. Now, one of the important things, and if you observe this party, it is typically divided into small groups, and these groups essentially branch out into different corners. Why do they branch out into different corners? They branch out into different corners because there is a cohesion or there is a bonding between the people. There is another reason why they bond together because of probably maybe because of common interest. Now, let us say, for example, you are new to this entire group of people and you have entered into the party. And I leave you alone into this whole party. Do you, as a person, engage yourself into a conversation with others? If yes, how do you start with such conversations? What do you say in such conversations? What do you talk in such conversations? How many people do you want to keep and make a note of? How many people do you want to send an invite on LinkedIn? How many people who have given you the visiting card, you want to throw them in the dustbin? So all of these matter a lot. And this is essentially called as the art of small talks. So whether you are creating or whether you are creating an impression over the others, and similarly, whether others are able to create an impression over you is all a result of this small talks. And if you are the kind of person who is reserved like me, or they are within their own world, introverts, and you do not want to go and speak out in the world, you are possibly doing a mistake. Small talks is the art of communication wherein even introverts should make the effort of going and talking and introducing to people. In any such kind of scenarios, you should break open and you should go and speak to other groups as well. Even this is a part of your communication skills. And this also has been covered as a part of this book, Business Communication Connecting at Work. Apart from that, one of the most important things that is required from students to the last day you require is your curriculum vitae and your resume. While people make CVs and resumes in different format, typically the chronological format or the functional format, it is also important to understand that building your resume plays a very critical role, especially for the person who is willing to recruit. How do you design such resumes? Although there are a lot of standard formats that are available in the market, it is also important to understand that you have to have a strong CV behind you. And this strong CV would be able to support your candidature. And this strong CV will be able to support your candidature. Now, what you should also understand here in business communication is that it is a fantastic journey. And you will also have to work towards improving your skill sets along with your softer power, which is your business communication. And all of this essentially comes into your ambit of business communication, connecting and work. This has been one of my efforts that I have put in from my years of experience into the industry, into teaching, translated in the form of book, refined for the audience. The entire book essentially consists of exercises, demonstrations, role plays, quizzes, critical thinking questions, essentially for the purpose of looking at the audience and for building a environment for people to practice. So even if you have two of your colleagues with you, you would be able to practice. Business communication, therefore, is essential for you, whether you are working in a non-governmental organization, a MNC, for-profit organization, or you are student. The right time to start off with your business communication skills right from the time you are in school. If you have already crossed the school level, the right time is now. So you should essentially take a step forward and you should work towards your business communication skill improvement. So with this, I bring this to a close. Thank you, everyone, and hope you have a wonderful time reading Business Communication Connecting at Work, published by Oxford University Press. Thank you.